notion of the idea that makes the American experiment, this great democratic project, is how we tend to think of the expansion of the franchise by identity. So the 1870 15th Amendment, in which the rights of citizens of the U.S. to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the U.S. or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude, right? That's our race amendment. And if we look at the moment when, in fact, this amendment actually becomes any sort of realistic possibility in the modern era, what we see is that black folks really take pretty good care of their franchise, becoming, from 1964 well into the 80s, an increasing proportion of the overall electorate. And the big thing you want to see is that in 04 and in 08, when in 2000, and then in 2008. So in that very, very close election of 2000, African-American citizens almost exceed all citizens overall in terms of their voter turnout. And then in 2008, so in the razor-thin election, you see we're very, very close to exceeding it. And by 2008, you see that, in fact, African-Americans actually exceed all citizens in our percentage of folks that turn out to vote. See the same thing again in 2012. If you disaggregate this by gender, this is primarily driven by black women. Black women are the reason that Barack Obama is president. I wrote it down in the Michelle chapter. We all know it. If you look at the numbers, it's very clear. He could just keep that, my brother, with the my brother's keeper, because we are the reason he is president. I'll talk about that later. Okay. But that is a kind of identity-based narrative about expansion of the franchise. Same thing happens 1920 with the 19th Amendment. The rights of citizens of the U.S. to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the U.S. or by any state, there you go, on account of sex. And again, we see women taking very good care of their franchise. Every presidential election since 1980, the proportion of eligible women voters exceeding that of men. In every presidential election since 1964, the number of women voters exceeds the number of men voters. 2004, 8.8 million more women than men voted in the presidential election. And in every election from 1980 until 2008, I didn't do the most recent, only in 2000 and 2004 was the winner not the candidate, the choice of a majority of women voters.